I am in Piancavallo in northern Italy. I will try to capture what is behind me. Very quickly, it's going to be a quick sketch and we will see what happens.
Welcome to a virtual presentation of Painting with a Pastor, an art tutorial to celebrate life and keep all of us resilient during this difficult time. Because art is for the heart. At the time of this recording, Italy and many other countries around the world are struggling with the impact of COVID-19. We grieve the lives that have been taken by the virus. We also recognize the need to remain focused on counting our blessings while remaining resilient and involved in positive activities. Even if we cannot go outside our homes, we still can incorporate a variety of fun activities. Therefore, I am proposing art as one of those fun activities. Through several installments or videos, I will share with you several artistic insights and concrete artistic techniques to translate the beauty of nature into the language of art, your art. This presentation will walk you through the process of producing a landscape. My intent is to provide an extra alternative so you and yours can participate in a fun activity, entertaining activity that could increase the interaction, your interaction with other people through the web. So now, without further delay, as you see some slides of my art pieces, let me change and soon we will be drawing and painting together. Now about painting materials. Obviously you will need a support. This is a 9 inches by 12 inches sheet of paper that is particularly for oil and acrylics. Nevertheless, even if you don't have one of those, you could utilize something else. Let me show you some options. I'm almost certain that around your house you will find something like that. The cover of a notebook could be a good support for something like acrylics, oils, if you don't have anything else. Now, one of those 9 by 12 looks like that. Now I place tape on the sides here and there, as you can see here, and made it smaller. Actually, my little painting here is exactly half of one of those sheets of paper. But when you place it like this, in the middle, and that is what the tape is basically doing, leaving the surrounding without paint, and we are going to paint in the center. What else do you need? You will need, for this particular one, you will need brushes. I will recommend that you try it, if possible at all, right? Isolation, quarantine. But if possible, that you utilize small brushes, kind of medium size brushes. I'm not using any large, bigger brushes, because hey, it's a tiny canvas paper. A palette. This is one of my palettes. Now you might be saying, hey Chaplain Ramos, I don't have a palette. Don't worry. Many times, many times, really, I have utilized these guys instead of a palette. We will need different colors. Not too many, only 4 basically. Yellow, blue, red, and white. If you have around brown to darken the values of these colors, great. But only these 4 colors actually could, mixing them in the right proportions, we could get black, we could get orange, green, violets. These colors are all the colors that we need. Depending on which wet medium you are using, I forgot to mention, you will need a medium. If you are painting with oils, that might be some sort of oil or turpentine. If you are painting with acrylics, watercolor, water. You will also need a rag, something to clean your tools. On this demonstration, I will be utilizing, obviously, a wet medium. These are oils, but it could be acrylics, it could be watercolors, temperas, whatever you have around the house. You could also draw this landscape instead of painting, and in that case, of course, you will be using crayons or pencils, graphite. So I have placed here blue, red, and yellow. More or less in the same proportion. We have brown. Remember that I said that if you already have brown, it will be great. And if not, with these 3 colors, you have brown. Something else that we will do is to be aware of values. When in painting or drawing we talk about values, is how light or how dark some area is. So I will show you later specifically for this painting, but I would like to have some light values of red and some darker values of red, some lighter values of yellow and some darker values of yellow, and the same with brown. I'm sorry, the same with blue. If you remember, we mixed approximately the same amount of red, yellow and blue, and we got brown. Then we place white and yellow, white and blue, white and red. And I started the process of mixing plenty of white with a little red. And here at the end is plenty of red with just a touch of white. And in the middle is about the same, half and half, let's say. The idea is to have this, a lighter value of the color and going down to a darker value. That is the value scale, from white getting darker until it gets to black. So, when we speak of values, we said that we are speaking of how light or how dark a color is. That's why black and white photography makes sense. It's about values. You don't need color in order to express a sense of reality in a two-dimensional surface, but you need values. Now, I am going to transfer my colors with the values to my palette, because I do have several palettes, so I am going to be utilizing from now on my palette, transferring these values, these colors in the different value scales to the palette. Let's talk for a moment about composition, where to place the different elements in the painting or your landscape. If you observe this painting, you will realize that the horizon is very low. The placement of the horizon line is about here. And this painting is mostly about the dynamic lines of those mountains intersecting one another. See, and even the road and these lines all converging here. So I utilize, actually, you can make yourself something like this, say viewfinder. You will extend and look around, perhaps not that differently as a director in the movies is trying to find the view. So it's a viewfinder. So if we analyze this little painting, again, we will have a horizon line that is very low. It's like what? It's even less than 1/4, perhaps 1/5. Yes, of the height of the painting, and then we have like in 1/4. Yeah, if half is about there, like 1/4 on the right. Coming. Think also about the angle. What is the angle? You know, this coming down and about 1/3 is where that mountain starts, and what is the angle, goes up to what point is a little less than half of it, so and then it starts to go down, and what is the angle of inclination of that line. So we will try to replicate and transfer that to our canvas. At the beginning, not with heavy paint, but mostly medium, being oil or water if you are using watercolor, or if with pencil, very lightly, trying to place the elements. And again, I think I will eliminate this structure to make it simpler. Now with the blue, again, mostly medium, meaning water or oil, very, very little. Let's try to find where, so there, kind of 1/3 there. This. I think that here and that from there is like that, more or less. And here there's a little one, and then it's half is like there. It goes like this, up a little, then it starts to come down like there. And another in the background. So this is the placement of the larger shapes. Again, I'm eliminating the man-made structure, unless some of you guys want to place it in your own. So this is not about details right now. Usually I start my actual placement of the colors with asking myself, what is the lightest light? What is the darkest dark? Overall, the sky, because it's a source of light in nature, the sky will be the lightest light. Now in this case we might have some reflections of the snow on top of the mountains, but most of the time the sky is the lightest light. Remember that we prepare the values for each of the three colors, yellow, red and blue, plus white. Here is the white. So now we start to utilize those. So if the lightest light is the sky, start to, again, not with a lot of paint, but little by little we will be pushing it and pushing it. In this case, the sky is not exactly the lightest light because of the snow, but I have mixed some white, mostly white, with a tad, a little bit of my lightest blue. Then I will add a little bit of my lightest red, because it has some hints of that golden light, you know. Moving freely around. It's not about the outlines. Grabbing some pure white and placing in some areas very freely again. And on top of that, later on we will add a tiny bit of other tones, colors. But for now, mostly it's white with a little bit of, just a tiny bit of blue there. My lightest value of blue with white. It's white. The movement of the brush sometimes matters a lot, other times not that much. Here I am moving around here and there without complicating myself much. It's a beautiful sky. So I see that it has some red. So I'm touching on my lightest red, lightest value of red, and I'm going to add it here and mix it with what I had it before. That baby blue. I add a little more and then place it like in this area. For now it's very loosely and it's kind of purplish in some areas. I don't worry about that yet. I'm gonna grab some more pinks from there and just a little. It's good to have some variety. All right. Perhaps some pure white and place it there. And it's mixing with what I applied before, and that is all right. Okay. So as I said before, usually the lightest light in the landscape is the sky. I think that is still the case here. Still, even though some reflections of light bouncing from the snow might look brighter. So I noticed that there is some part of that mountain coming down like that. And here too. So we just make those marks there. I know that's the same color I applied on the mountain. I'm not concerned right now. I'm going to clean my brush. Usually, ideally, you will have a brush for each color, so you are not mixing too much the colors or getting the colors contaminated. That will be ideal. So actually I just changed and grabbed a new brush, I'm sorry. So if you remember, we have brown. This is the brown that we prepared, mixing yellow, red and blue in about the same amounts. But this brown is not as dark as I would like it to be. So if I already know that if I add more blue, there's the blue, more blue to this brown, it will get darker. So I'm going to do that. get some blue from there and mix it with the brown. You see? Look what is happening. So now I have a darker version, a darker value. You remember that we talk about values? A darker value of brown, because here the values in these areas are below what we had before. So it seems that those darker values are kind of in this area. Not a lot of medium here, but some medium. Doesn't need to be perfect. Ah, yes. If you are following this process, I hope that you are already starting to have some fun. Most of the work is the setup. Right now I am trying to get the now I will get some of the medium brown and place it around here. It's not so dark. Probably it's even darker than I want it to be. It's there. Here I'm trying to get also that sense of form. I'm going to add some of my lightest yellow to that brown, and that is going to bring it down. Even if it doesn't look exactly like the other, just a few touches here and there. It's one of the beautiful things about art. You almost never get the exact same result. And each one of your masterpieces is unique. See, again, I'm kind of moving my brush in the same direction as I imagine that hill, that section of the mountain is. I want some darker browns on the bottom, so I'm grabbing now some pure blue and I'm mixing that blue. Remember, blue makes it darker. Feel free to explore, to move around, do a little variation here and there. Okay, so it's already looking a little different from what I have in the other. So right now I'm trying to give life to this little hill here, not so much to replicate. So that is a reference for me. I was there, and probably I will include in this tutorial demonstration some of the recording when I was there in Piancavallo painting, doing that study. That is a small sketch study. Alright, I'm kind of happy with that mountain as it is. I know it's not exactly as the other, and that is fine. I see that on the side here there is another dark area. Let me just try to get it there, and something else here. Probably too dark. Then we could fix it later. And the ground. So let me tell you about a theory of planes. I already mentioned the first part, and is that the lightest light in nature is the sky, because obviously it's the source of light in nature. So what is the second lightest according to the values? If the sky is the lightest light, what is the second? What do you think? Is it the mountain? Is it the ground? Are the trees the second lightest? It's the ground. The ground is the second lightest, usually after the sky, because it's the plane that is reflecting the most light. Third are the planes that are inclined. In this case, the hills and mountains. So the sky, let's say, is a value 8 or 9, pretty light. Then the ground might be a 7 or 6. Inclined planes, like the mountains, might be a 5 or 4. So it's an intermediate. And the darkest values in nature usually are trees. Trees are usually the darkest in value because are parallel. So the light is coming from the top and the sides of that plane. It's pretty dark. Having explained that, let's continue. So if the second lightest, the ground cannot be darker than an inclined plane, like that. So let's utilize some, looks like yellows and a tad, a very little bit of that gold reddish light, you know, that is hitting during the sunset, Piancavallo. So there we go. I'm going to add a little white on top of the yellow. Probably that is too much. For now it doesn't bother me. I like to add some of the intermediate to that. So I'm mixing yellow and some of the blue to get this color. It's not a green exactly, but it's more a gray. Then a darker blue. And that I'm also going to utilize there. I'm trying to see where else in the painting I could utilize the same colors or values. What is this going to do? It's going to give your painting unity, visual unity. Now let me play some brown, but a lighter version of brown, brown and yellow. Here with a little red. First time that we are touching the reds. Set brown, a little yellow, and a little red. Look how beautiful that tone, that color is. It's very beautiful. If in your household children are painting, what a joy! Little by little. Nobody's in a rush. Noticing that some areas here probably are too dark and heavy. There's another technique you could remove, especially if you are using acrylics, or certainly if you are using oils. You could do this. This is a palette knife. It allows you to spread the paint in a different way. It's not necessary, it's not essential. If you have it here and there, you can use it. Basically, different piece of metal. Alright, it looks like the road and this other mountain that is receiving a lot of light, that golden light, so it's full of reds and some pinkish even. My cat Luna is here. So once again, this is not an absolute science. I'm not trying to replicate exactly what I painted before. I'm making observations and adjusting as I see them. So that mountain seems to add a different line dynamic, lines that is very nice. And I am eliminated that man-made structure. So I'm using the darkest red with white that we prepared before and placing it here. I think that it adds a very nice contrast between the white of the mountain there and this mountain here. Touches here and there. Okay. Overall, receding planes move towards blues, as mentioned before. objects and planes that are closer to us tend to move towards the reds or a more intense chroma. Some yellows now, huh? Yellows and browns on this. Okay. Right now I'm using the darkest of those yellows that we prepare, so the lightest value, middle value, and the darkest one. Trying to find where those colors belong. But again, mixing some colors with others, but not everywhere, in certain areas. Move a little bit. Alright, so now I will use the lightest yellow and place it here and there on top of the other. Darker brown. Right now I am basically inventing some sections of this. So you should feel free. Should be a little gold or reddish.
extend that edge. Should not be a hard line here. Almost fusing with what is behind. That will make it look like it's disappearing. No? Goes around. And at the end, probably there. Okay. Well, we haven't included the road there. So we didn't include the road, and I eliminated the man-made structure. Now, I am seriously thinking about it. And I'm starting to feel like this particular landscape shouldn't have any road. It's about nature as it was a good while before. It's a view of Piancavallo. What can we say? 100 years ago? Who knows? Again, I'm unifying, trying to utilize some of those same colors. Just a few that's of color here and there. I mixed the blue, the darker blue, with a little bit of the yellow, the darker value of yellow, and now I am adding more blue to it, kind of to get a few touches here and there. I'm feeling that we are very close. Add some darker darks, very few. quite contaminated, that brush. Sorry about that. Using a different brush. My purpose in adding a deeper value contrast here, so it helps this plane to come forward. I hope that I've achieved in a way this separation of planes there. Alright, here we are. I think that it is where I want it to be. So, do you remember that I applied these? Now we are going to take those out. So I hope that a lot of youth and even children, of course, participated in a way or another. Adults welcome. Look at that. Look at that. All right. I will say that this is ready to sign. More than anything else, I truly hope that you had fun with your family painting this project or drawing this project, Piancavallo, just around Aviano Air Base. I would like to give it away. And what do you need to do? Alright. Upload a picture of your project, your version of the project, on the comments. And by the end of April, I will pick the winner randomly.